So now let's talk about what we're going to be working on. So I'd like to talk about your fine motor movement when you play the instrument for a bit. Basically, we will be working on balancing and fine tuning your output and input system that you are running to play your instrument. Okay. Again, we'll be working on balancing out and fine tuning your output and input system that you are running to play your instrument. So let me elaborate. The output system, I think, is the easier one to understand. These are the commands to move your body in a certain way that comes from your headquarters here. So the headquarters gives signal to our body, and obviously it moves in a certain way. But this is, obviously not working for you really well right now. So you want to move in a certain way, but your body does not let you do that for the time being. And so we're going to find ways to optimize movements by reviewing your natural structure of your body, and also exploring what each body parts could do in order to carry on that 5 movement of the fingertips. You might be focusing on your fingertips and your hands because this is exactly where you don't feel well right now. But let's not forget that there are various channels between your headquarters and your fingertips, and then we kind of want to optimize all of these channels so that this communicates really well with the fingertips. And we will also be looking into your movement and see if the positioning of your hand and dynamic of the movement is balanced in a way that you are using all the muscles that are needed in sufficient amount in order to have balanced movement. So I'll be showing you how to physically maybe strengthen your muscles or your weakened muscles, and how to expand the range of movements in some of your joints. So this is the output part. The input system is the interesting one. So we have a system that gathers up information of the environment of the body. That's the inner environment. And also the immediate surrounding environment, the outer environment. So our body picks up all of these sensory informations, and we make decision on how we could react to those information in lightning speed. And those informations could be the current inner and outer environmental information, or if we have encountered a similar situation in the past before, we have a whole data, a collection of a data stored in our memory bank that we could associate with it. So let's suppose that you were a beginner piano student, and this is your first time ever seeing and touching a piano. So a student you will be spending a lot of time exploring how the piano looks like, and how the keys look like, and how they're aligned, and how much the keys, and you'll be exploring how much the keys are apart from each other, the height difference between the white and black keys, the difference in the feeling of the material that's used between the white key and the black key, and like the depth of the key and the resistance of the keys, and all while tuning into the consequence of the sound difference of you hitting that key in a certain impact or speed, and with certain combination of things. And your hands and your finger movement will be so awkward, as everything feels so new and we're so uncoordinated, but our senses are working in full blast, trying to pick up information about the subtle touch and pressure and angles and positioning of the body and your positioning of the hand and fingers in relation to the rest of the body. And we do this, gathering up all this information in the next few days, and then a few weeks, and then a few months, and a few years go by. And as we get more and more proficient at with the instrument, and it becomes a second nature to us, we don't have to be gathering so much information any longer, since we are accustomed to it, because we have enough data stored in our memory. So now this is precisely how we get to play an instrument really well at certain proficiency. But I think there could be an instance, just because we are too proficient with it, and sometimes our attention and focus forgets the medium, which is our body, that is actually making the movements and gathering information, that we kind of stop doing it altogether, since we know them too well. Now, mind you, picking up the environmental information is very, very crucial to cast a movement. See, we know how to make the next step or the next movement, because we are picking up the current environmental information. So we are making that decision based on the current environment. Now, see, for example, if you are on the playing piano C, on the piano C, D, E, F, G, from your thumb to the pinky note, the movement, the moment I play the thumb note, right, my senses are picking up the information that I need, picking up information that I am indeed using my thumb, because the thumb feels maybe further away from the rest of my hand. The corner of my thumb right here is against the surface of the keys, and my thumb feels the most impact of the keys, and also my thumb also feels the weight of my hand and my whole arm on it. And so the body kind of understands that it is actually using the thumb. I could see it, and I could see the thumb against the keys, and I hear certain note that I intended to play with my thumb, and all of that gathering of the current information is making my body understand that I indeed is activating my thumb in a way, and I'm using my hand in a way that my thumb actually is against certain key. Now, the body understands that it's using the thumb in a certain way, and it's as it gathers the current information, and also as it tunes into how you've always played a note with your thumb preceding the next note, which I intended to be the index finger. So as I play the thumb, my body makes sense out of the situation, and now I am ready to go on to the next finger, right? And as I do that, my headquarter gives signal to loosen up my thumb muscle, so it's not activated anymore. And then it's it goes on trying to sense what the index finger is doing at that moment. And mind you, we do this super. Can you imagine how fast we do this when we're really proficient? So we have this very, very intricate loop of output and input, and that works in really, 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 really fast. So of course the output is the motor signal or the movement signal. The input is the sensory signals. And so I want to see and just have you imagined what would happen when that loop breaks? So, or what happens when your body decides to not to pick up the information, or just unable to pick up the current environmental information. So when we cannot pick up the as much information to gather up and make sense out of what is happening currently, our body gets very confused, and because we just don't know what's happening, and because we are unsure of the environment, we don't know how to go on moving. We need the sensory information in order to move well. And this is another place where we're going to be spending a lot of time, which is to maximize on filling the body, maximize feeding the body with the sensory information needed in order to move really well. And a lot of these informations are stored in your memory, and we are going to be spending a lot of time trying to fill in the memory by vividly recalling the senses and filling in the vague memory and information that our body needs in order to move smoothly again. So our goal is to coordinate the output and input loop. So we would also, so that's regarding your fine motor movement, and we will also be talking about various emotional things, how your emotions do affect your movement, and of course your motor movement, and we'll be exploring some different ways on how you could better cope with the difficulties that you encounter in your daily activity. And I know firsthand that having focal dystonia can be very, very hard in social settings as well. And so we'll be exploring how we can think about those various topics as well. So my intention again is to be closely working with you, and so please let me be your partner for a while in this journey. So I'll see you very often and very soon again.